What's up, everybody? In this video, we're going to talk to you about how to choose the right camera. If you're looking to get your first camera, this is the video for you. I'm going to share with you some key features that you should be looking for whenever you get ready to make that investment. So if you're new here, I want to welcome you to the channel, and for the faithful few, we're about to turn this thing up a notch. So consider subscribing, and I promise I'm going to bring you some added value to you and your content creation. Choosing the right camera is essential. So I think that for everybody, one of the very first things that we think about when we think about purchasing a new camera or upgrading a camera is the price. Price is a huge factor when it comes to making a decision as to what kind of a camera that you want to buy or what kind of a camera you want to upgrade to. But you can't let it be the only factor, or you can't let it be the one that plays the biggest role in your decision. Figure out the exact features that you can live with that will help you to get your game at a level that you're not currently at. My advice would be to make sure that when you make this decision that, utilize these factors that I'm going to tell you today, so you can make sure that if something comes along 3 months from now or a year from now, you don't feel like, God, I have to go out and purchase a brand new camera in order to be able to stay relevant, or my footage isn't going to be good unless I have X camera. When I say features, I mean you have some essential features in today's game. See, this is something that I wish that, somebody would have told me, but honestly, I think the first time I bought a camera, I got hit with a salesman. I think he probably heard or seen me coming around the parking lot before I even pulled up, because I just didn't know. And when you don't know, you don't even know the questions to ask about that you don't know about even exist. So we're going to go through this list of features that I know in my experience that I can share with you and say have absolutely played a key role in me being able to begin not only getting the kind of footage that I've always felt like I could shoot, but me being guaranteed that I could be consistent with the kind of footage that I'm shooting and also have room to be able to grow in the game. So now, I want you to keep in mind that in the long run, one of the things that you'll figure out is that any camera is just a tool, all right? So, and as long as you really get next to your camera and learn the fundamentals of how that camera works, you'll know how to work any camera that you pick up. And that really is going to involve you being able to slide that auto mode button over to manual mode, and you'll get there. I mean, it's very intimidating initially because, when you're in manual mode, if you don't change it, it doesn't change. And so, but as you begin to learn and as you begin to, dive into the craft, you'll be able to be more confident and you'll be able to be more competent in the product that you put out. So now, if you know me, we're not about to get caught up in name brands and stuff, but we are going to get caught up in a few must-have features. All right. You can be able to take these features, and I'll put something in here so that you can be able to screenshot it, so you can be able to have something to have as a reference as you begin to make your decision. Key features that you want to look for. You've got a crop sensor camera, then you have a full frame camera. The crop sensor is just going to be more affordable. It's going to be made for people who I like to say are into like sports photography, sports videography, hunting, anything where you're going to need to be able to reach out and be able to get some clarity and be able to capture as much detail as you can. Because with the crop sensor camera, basically they're going to take that focal length that is on that lens, and the sensor on the camera is going to crop in some. Now, you won't be able to get that full-fledged image like a full-frame camera, but you'll be able to reach farther. It's a more affordable camera, and they've got some really, really nice, capable, efficient, and professional crop sensor cameras. In the full frame, you're going to have overall better image quality. You'll be able to fill up the frame. You'll have better low light. You'll be able to get a much more shallower depth of field. It's going to be able to give you an image that is more suited for commercial and music videos, films, and things of that nature, where you're going to be in a much more controlled space. You can use a crop sensor in a controlled space, but the full frame sensor is going to be on a camera that you'll be using for more of just commercial work, period. There's no need to be able to reach out 300 yards in a bedroom, to film a scene. So the reason why I'm giving you those two features first is because before you make a decision, I want to make sure that you check out all the features, but just knowing that you can look at a crop sensor camera on one side and a full frame camera on another side, you know, that will allow you to be able to take these other features and kind of line them up side by side, and then you'll have to be able to make a decision, because the features in comparison will definitely put some decisions on your mind. Don't overlook the weight and the ergonomics of a camera. It may not be immediately apparent or visible to you as far as the benefit of it as a key feature to look at, but you absolutely will want a camera that feels comfortable in your hands. I've had a camera that, you know, kind of had the boxy flat look, and I think those cameras are like the Sony cameras. They always look like a square rectangle to me. I don't have a Sony. But then also, you know, I've had the Nikons and also the Canons. I mean, the Canon has a very good feel to me. You know, when I grip it and when I pick it up and grip it in my hand, there's actually something that you have to hold on to that has some form factor that when you grab it, you know it's there, as opposed to something that's square. I always feel like I would drop that. So, you know, like I said, don't overlook the weight and the ergonomics of the camera. You want a camera that's going to feel comfortable in your hands, especially during long sessions, okay? You want to consider the size, you want to consider the grip, you also want to consider the overall weight of the camera to make sure that it's going to shoot, you know, fit your shooting style and your shooting preferences. All right. Weight also is something that counteracts, you know, shaky footage. You know, if your camera has some weight on it, that's going to help it to not give you that jitteriness, that jittery feeling in your footage when people are watching it, because it's going to be weighted down. When you're carrying a camera, you're just going to have some natural movement in your arms and in your body, just because that's just what we do. You know, you'll have some camera movement, and so you can begin to, you know, reduce that and kind of minimize it if your camera has a little weight on it. There's all kind of different things you can do to be able to add weight to a camera, but again, like I said, when you know these things up front, it can put you in a position where you can be able to make a more informed decision. In-body image stabilization will help you to compensate for camera shake. You know, you're shooting handheld, you're trying to get footage in there. If you do want a camera that has a technology that will help to counteract shakiness, and if it's built in, that'll be even better. So that'll help you to aid what we were talking about in terms of the weight and ergonomics of a camera, because if it has in-body image stabilization, you know, even if your lens doesn't have image stabilization, you can be assured that, you know, the camera stabilization in the camera can help you to be able to capture, you know, a little more smoother footage. So steady footage, even when you're shooting handheld or just in a challenging condition. You know, you don't know where you're going to be sometimes or what the terrain is going to be like. And so if you're feeling every bump and move, that means your footage is going to feel and be impacted by every bump and move, which also means that your viewer is going to be impacted by every bump and move. I mean, it can be game changing, you know, for steady shots. If you don't have a gimbal or a tripod or a lens that has in-body stabilization, because you don't have a camera with stabilization, you don't have a lens with stabilization, you pretty much going to need a gimbal, or you're going to add, you know, 20, 30 pounds to it to just get that super smooth shot or that smooth footage, if that's what you're going for. The first couple of cameras that I had were 8-bit cameras, but no, I think it's called it 24 colors. And then you would have over here on the other side, if your monitor was able, 32-bit color. So in the 24 color deal, it would have, like, you know, a column for colors where you might separate the red, orange, green, blue, and yellow, but they would be hard separations. You know, the next color, it would look like, you know, it might be 8 colors and it would just be a hard separation of colors. But when you look at the 32-bit, it would be a gradient, because when the one color hits another color, it doesn't just immediately change. There's some colors that are in there in between those colors. And so you want to be able to access every single piece of color detail you can for your image, because that's what's going to be able to give you crispy images. That's what's going to be able to give you accurate and detailed images, is if you're actually able to see that color depth that allows you to be able to access those when you're editing, so that your images can be changed and modified, or they can be graded and get the actual looks that you want. Because if that extra color information isn't there, you don't have control of those colors. I'm going to say one of the key features in this particular area is going to be, make sure you get a 10-bit camera. There's some 8-bit cameras that will do good, but they typically have to have some kind of added gear or added peripheral that will allow it to be able to have a higher bit depth, and usually that's going to be done via HDMI or video recorder. But now, say you have this video recorder, you have this HDMI connection to it to give you more color information, but now you want to throw your camera up on the gimbal. You can't just freely go from there to there. It takes a lot more work, and when you're in the field and you're shooting, sometimes you don't have enough time to unrig a camera, to go and rig it enough to where you can be able to go and get it up on the gimbal because you want to get this certain smooth shot. It just adds too much time. It makes you become inefficient. I just say stay away from the 8-bit color. When you get ready to edit, there's just not enough room for you to be able to recover detailed information. You have to kind of have a fix, and the more you can do within your camera without the aid of additional things, the better you'll be, and you'll be able to grow from there. So yeah, 10-bit, stay away from the 8-bit. 4K or higher resolution, absolute minimum. Do not go out and pick up some camera that records maximum 1080p or 720p or 320, anything like that. In today's game, 4K resolution or higher is pretty much the standard. You want to be able to have crispy images with as much detail and clarity as possible. You don't want blurry footage that takes away from the hard work that you put in to get good exposure and staying in focus and all of that, just to end up sending your client some flat, dull, old looking footage, or uploading to your favorite social media platform for them to get 2 likes on because they can't see. So 4K resolution is not only going to make sure that you have stunning detail and clarity in your videos, but it's also going to make sure that you have flexibility in your edits. If you're editing on a 1080 timeline, which is what you would upload to like your social media platforms and stuff, but you've got a 4K image where you're looking at that image. Now, if you want to punch in real quick, bam, you can punch in or 4 times zoom, and you're not going to lose detail. It's not going to get blurry on you. It's not going to pixelate on you. It's not going to, tear your image up because you punched in so far real quick. You'll still have that same clarity because you have that room from 1080p all the way to 4K. Pretty much it. It's just a no-brainer. There's too many cameras that are out there in every price range, including your cell phone, that'll shoot in 4K. So there's no reason to go and pick up a camera that shoots at less than 4K. Frame rate capability. You want to make sure that you can be able to shoot in at least 60 frames a second. 60 frames a second or higher. Now, the best of both worlds, and this for me has become one of the absolute go-to questions when I begin to look at, a camera upgrade or a potential camera replacement, aside from the 10-bit feature, would be, can this camera shoot at 4K also in 60 frames a second, or 60 frames a second at 4K resolution? Because since I shoot in 4K, then I want to make sure that my slow motion footage can also be shot at that same image resolution, because I want to keep a consistency in my quality and my clarity of my images. And so, if, like I said, it's kind of best of both worlds. You want to shoot in 4K, and you also want to be able to shoot at least 60 frames a second. Every camera just doesn't shoot at 60 frames a second at 4K resolution. It'll shoot at 4K, and it'll also shoot at 60 frames a second. But when you go to 60 frames, a lot of the cameras, they'll drop down to the 1080p resolution. So that's a feature that you just really need to know about, because as you begin to get more and more into that thing, you definitely will be able to see and know that there is a difference. I mean, you're shooting in slow motion, but still have the ability to punch in without tearing up your image or getting blurry footage. It just makes all the difference in the world. So, and usually those cameras are going to just be a little bit more expensive. But again, it's like you want to be able to do that, and you'll get to a point where you don't want to be like, man, now I have to go buy a whole brand new camera because I want to be able to shoot at 60 frames a second in 4K resolution. If you make the investment now, you'll end up saving, because you won't have this other camera that you just really wasted money on. So yeah, this combination, 60 frames a second and 4K resolution, I mean, to me, it's top notch. I mean, it's gonna provide incredible detail, and the smoothness of your high frame slow motion shots. It's gonna be emotionally and engaging cinematic visuals all day long. You definitely need a viewfinder. Having a viewfinder at this stage is pretty standard. You've got a few different options on cameras now, though. You can have a flat, flush viewfinder. You can have a tilt screen viewfinder. You can have one that kind of pops out to the side, or you can do like an add-on viewfinder. All of them are game changers, though, especially in bright sunlight. Look for a camera that offers an electric viewfinder, known as EVF, or an optical viewfinder, to help you, get your shots with a little more precision. And it just kind of all sums up to you being able to see your images and clips prior to hitting the shutter button. And typically it's kind of a what you see is what you get type of a deal. USB, you definitely want to have a USB connection with your camera. USB, I mean, it's another must-have feature. I mean, USB, it gives you the ability to do easy file transfers. It'll give you direct camera control from your computer or your tablet, or you can use it. You can add on like onboard memory for a larger SSD drive, so you can be able to shoot longer and store more files per project. And sometimes it's other gear that'll require connection by USB to the camera. And so if you have a USB, it'll just be a plug and go type of a situation. Then, even outside of that, a USB also is going to give you the ability to turn your camera into a webcam for live streaming or video conferences. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connections is also, a huge benefit. The very first camera that I purchased when I got home, and I'm looking through the box, and it was talking about different features on the camera, and it showed a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection, but it was like not with this model, with the next model. So of course I took the camera back. It was like 3 days later, but having a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection on your camera, it's going to help you to improve your overall workflow. You can transfer files through your Wi-Fi. You can sync your camera to like a cloud service, or even your own cloud space. You can connect it that way as well. You can also be able to control your camera wirelessly, remotely, like with a phone or iPad or a computer or a tablet. You can even share your content on the go, for some quick and convenient upload capability, or send it off to a client for a preview or on the spot, just straight to their cell phones and email. Being able to shoot remote. For added convenience and flexibility, consider a camera that actually supports shooting remotely. I mean, this is going to allow you to control your camera settings, start, stop, recording, your ISO, your aperture, even your autofocus, and you'll be able to control those things remotely. That means you can go somewhere like right now. I'm literally, filming this, and I'm remote controlling my actual footage, right here. And so I can adjust all the lighting setups. I can see my viewfinder, I can use my phone, and I can be able to control what I'm actually looking at right now. So for the most part, that's it. When you get ready to go and grab that camera, I'm going to say that the name brand doesn't really matter as much. Cameras, they come and go. I was told by a real wise man that lenses are the better investment, because every year that camera's going to change or be upgraded to the newest, latest, greatest model. So now you've hung out here with me all this time. So what we're going to do here real quick, we're going to make this list real quick and we're going to get it in. All right, so we're going to start from the top and run it on through. Sensor size, make the choice of either full frame or crop sensor. If you're going to be shooting music videos and more controlled space film style content, then I'd give the edge to a full frame sensor camera for you. But if you're going to be shooting sports or hunting or a lot of long distance type shots, and you don't have to have a superb King low light type performance camera, then I would say go with the crop sensor. ergonomics, the weight, the feel of it, make it make sense. Heavier camera is less shaky footage, how it feels in your hand when you have it in your grip, the lens mount location, if it's off to the side or is it more centered, because this makes it easier, for using gimbals and cages. IBIS, you want to have something with in-body image stabilization for shaky footage or digital stabilization. Color depth, I'm going to say 10-bit or higher, just leave the 8 bits alone. Get out of there. Resolution, you want to be 4K or higher, but the absolute minimum is 4K. Frame rate, 60 frames a second or higher. The best of both worlds, you got 60 frames per second at 4K resolution. Viewfinders, you need one. USB, easy connectivity for files and peripherals. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, control, connectivity, wireless file transfers. Remote, you got remote shooting for mobile devices, setting calibrations, and it just ends up being an extra cameraman on set for you, honestly. Now let's talk about the money aspect. Setting a budget is probably one of the most important considerations that we all have to look at when making any kind of a purchase like this, especially when it comes to getting the right camera. Don't worry, I've got some affordable options that still deliver impressive, high-quality results. I'll put those options in the description so you can check those out for yourself. But now you'll be able to check those out with the features, and we'll find that sweet spot without breaking the bank. It'll also give you a chance to decide which features of the 11 that I've told you about to look for that are worth adding in or taking away. And then you can make a more informed decision before you go out and spend that money. Before you make that purchase, it is crucial to do research. Check out the reviews, watch sample videos, look at other videos that I have even on this channel that are going to show you how editing comes to play, as well as how some of those same features that I'm telling you about right now are impacted. So check out the reviews, watch the sample videos, compare the different models. We don't want to rush into anything. Being informed will help you to make the right decision for your particular content creation needs. Have any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And don't forget, please subscribe to the channel for more valuable content on video and photo production tips. Thank you for watching. I can't wait until we meet up again. And so for those of you who are still right here, right now, right here at this very last second of the video, we're about to get the world caught up to speed on the camera game.